Hi everyone, and welcome to this Cambridge Secondary video. I'm Laura, and today I'll be giving you some tips and tricks to help you get your students speaking, whatever the size of your class. One of the common problems teachers have is running speaking activities, particularly with big classes. It can be tempting to skip the speaking activity or to pick one or two students to demonstrate in front of the class. But that's embarrassing for some students and deprives other students of the opportunity to speak. So let's look at some of the worries that teachers might have about letting students do pair or group speaking activities. Worry number one. The students won't do the activity, or they'll do it as quickly as possible and then start chatting in their own language, and it'll be really difficult to get their attention at the end. This can be a problem if students don't see the point of the activity, or if they don't have anything to say about the topic. So make sure you give them a reason to speak to each other. Maybe they need to find something out and tell the rest of the class at the end of their discussion. Or introduce an element of competition by giving points to the group who finds out, for example, the most interesting information. If you think they'll struggle to find something to say about the topic, do some brainstorming beforehand so they have plenty of examples or ideas. Keep an eye on the students you think are most likely to start chatting. Worry number two. The students will make mistakes and I won't have the opportunity to correct them, and they might pick up their partner's mistakes. Don't get too worried about accuracy. For students to have the confidence to communicate, they need to be allowed to try and maybe make mistakes. They'll only be able to remember their language if they're using it regularly. Make sure you've given them any language they might need to do the task on the board, and monitor the room. Write down any errors you hear as you're monitoring so you don't interrupt their conversations. And then you can write them on the board and elicit corrections. But don't forget to write down positive things as well, like examples of good vocabulary or grammar, as this will build their confidence. Worry number three. My students won't have the language to complete the task. Make sure you adapt the activity for the level and confidence of your students. Give them prompts on the board and time to prepare. And for more complex tasks or for weaker students, give them the opportunity to make some preparation notes. Alternatively, write up L1 words you hear on the board and elicit the translation at the end of the discussion. So each speaking task also provides an opportunity for students to learn more of the vocab they want to use. So now let's look at a common type of coursebook speaking activity and see how we can make it work for your class. Give students time to prepare their questions. Do one example together as a class and write the answer on the board. Tell your students to think about their answers and look up any vocab they might need to answer their partner's questions. While students are preparing their questions, write some prompts on the board that will help them to ask follow-up questions or ask for extra information, for example, why or why not. Ask one student to answer an example question with you and encourage them to use the prompts on the board to ask for extra information. Tell the students that at the end of the activity, you'd like them to tell you one thing that you found in common with your partner. For example, we both watch TV in bed. This will ensure they ask and answer all the questions and find out as much information as possible. At the end of the activity, ask each pair what they have found out. This is the opportunity to address any common errors. Write them up on the board and elicit corrections, and also to highlight nice language use that you've heard. Pair students with someone else and ask them to repeat the task. They should do this more confidently and fluently than before, using what they've learnt during the feedback stage. Number 7, finally, deal with any common errors you heard and give praise. To extend this activity and to add a bit more fun and challenge, why not get the students to choose one more funny sentence to write about their habits? It doesn't have to be true. For example, I often ride my elephant to school. They can then ask their partners the silly question, how often do you ride your elephant to school? And report back to the class. Sometimes speaking activities fail simply because they're a bit repetitive. So if you're feeling creative, why not adapt the activity to make it more fun? Here are some quick ideas. Number 1, For role plays or functional language, create a bit of ambience in the classroom to make it feel more authentic. For example, when practicing ordering in a restaurant, I like to arrange the desks to look like a restaurant, put on some jazzy music, and bring aprons for my restaurant staff to wear. Number 2, adapt the activity to get students moving around. This is a really great way to re-energise a class. For example, with the How Often activity, why not turn it into a mingle where students move around the class and have to find someone with the same answer as them for each question. Number 3, encourage students to be creative and, dare I say, silly in their speaking. A good way to do this without embarrassment is to get students to pretend to be someone else, for example, a celebrity or an invented character. You could assign roles or let them think of their own. So as an extension to the above activity, why not tell them to think up 3 daily routine sentences for a chosen famous person and get their partner to guess who they're playing? That's all from me. Thanks for watching, and why not check out our other Cambridge secondary videos on the Cambridge ELT YouTube channel.